Hi, I'm Robert Brunson. We're here at Bay Rider Boats. I'm proud to say this is a family-owned and operated business that's been here for over 50 years. We're located in Wilson, North Carolina. We have a bunch of skilled craftsmen that have been here for over 40 years, and we believe that we're building a top-tier boat with the highest quality materials that we can find.
What you're seeing is the beginning parts of the Bay Rider being built in the mold. The first thing we're doing is we're going to spray gel coat directly onto the molded surface at a thickness of 20 to 22 mils. And once the material cures out, we can begin our process of adding reinforcement fiberglass from the outside in.
This part of the build here, we've got a 239 being born in the mold. We're sanding the skin coat and preparing this thing for the next stages of its bulking. The skin coat provides the backing for the gel coat, and it also translates to cosmetics. So it's very important that this stage is meticulous, because if this skin coat has any air voids or any imperfections on it, it'll translate to the finished product. So we take proper care to ensure that that doesn't happen. So we have an exciting part of the process here. And you're looking at a brand new Bay Rider that's just been born from the mold. Something I'd like to point out, if you look, we've got 4 overbuilt stringers in this boat. These things are fully composite, made custom to each boat, foam filled with US Coast Guard approved flotation foam. And that's what makes these boats different from everyone else. These things are way robust underneath the floor. What's underneath your feet matters, and we are very transparent with our construction. We've got the interior to a Bay Rider skiff here in the trim area. And in this spot, you can see we're gonna mark out our hatch openings and go ahead and open these things up with a combination of routers and diamond saws. And this part of the process is very important, because this determines how well we get this thing to fit together when we move it over to pre-assembly. You're also going to remove your raw trim edges that we have that are left over from the molding process. And again, you can see we take extensive care to make sure these things are in the same place every time. We use a combination of all our templates and splashes. For each model, we have a specific set. The engineering team helps us determine where we are going to cut these things. And it gives us an opportunity in this room to start the first part of our cosmetic. And what we're looking for is any blemish in this area that we can go ahead and address before we pass it down the line. We're over here in the small parts area of the production part of lamination. And much like we do with our hulls, we take a lot of meticulous care to deburr and trim all of these parts so they have a beautiful finish for the end user. What you see here is a upper and lower part for our T-tops. We're going to trim it and we're going to bond them together similar to the way we would build a boat. And the same thing goes for our hatch openings. So all these lids have a finished underside and a finished top side. And we take it an extra step and we come in here and we're going to soften all these radiuses and paint this trim edge to ensure a pretty finish for a long time. Still over in small parts, and you can see here we're staging to glue a hard top together. And what you're looking at is the underside and the top side of this T-top is being dry fit. And we're gonna come back and bond these two elements together to make it one piece for the end. And what we get out of that is a super strong, super thick, heavy duty fiberglass hard top that's gonna stand the test of time. Important element to boat construction is foam. So any boat over 20 feet needs to have flotation. We take it a step further. We use a closed cell foam that's also Coast Guard approved, which means it's resistant to gas and oils. So if you have any spills or any issues, you know that your foam's not going to break down and deteriorate that flotation. So we've encapsulated amongst the stringers. We also use it in additional spray areas for insulation and sound dampening. It's a key integral part to hold nice, of course, but it's paramount for safety. Here in the core shop, we're going to utilize all of our custom templates. And what this allows for us is to use materials like Aquaplast and Cusa and PET T92 100-pound density foams to ensure fitment in the areas that they belong. And what's important about that is when you go to add your trolling motor or additional rod holders in areas, you know that it's strong and it's going to hold screws well and last a lifetime. But again, no wood, no rock construction. You can see here on this T-top, it almost ends up at 1.25 inches thick here, and it's backed with all of that high density foams we just talked about. So when we through bolt that T-top to this thing, it ensures it lasts a lifetime. We're out here in the welding shop, and this is where we do our fabrication. We've talked a little bit along the way here about durability and quality, and it really starts to show up in the work. Even in this building here, you can see we are over bracing this hardtop. The use of 6063 aluminum with Schedule 80 pipe allows this thing to stay strong and stay rigid for a long time. I do want to point out an extra step we're taking here, something that we do that not all others do, is we actually will give you 2 rigging chases from the hardtop to come down to the console. So the addition of VHFs or radars or any kind of stereo wires you might add on down the road, it's easier on the customer and the dealer. So we do this in-house, and the reason is because we have quality craftsmen that have been here for decades, and allows us really to control our quality right here on the production floor here at Bay Rider Boats. We can control things like the ability to coat or not coat the top. We offer a painted version, and then we offer bright work where it has exposed brush pipe. We take the extra care to make sure that there's no blemishes or anything exposed on the hardtop, as well as having great penetration on our welds and visually appealing. So here we are in the pre-assembly building. This portion of the build is where we have a post trim of the hull and a post trim of the deck. We're going to build out both sections based on the way the boat was asked for by the customer. Once we finish our wiring and our plumbing and our hull, and we're happy with all of our hardware that's on our deck, we're going to lift it in the air, as you see here, and we're going to put it together with a B39 pumpable adhesive on our stringers, and we use a methacrylate around our shoebox joint, and the boat is fused together and is truly one piece. You see here, we'd like to highlight how we are doing our fuel tank installs. So this is all domestically sourced aluminum welded fuel tanks that are epoxy coated. And if you take a second to look, we're mechanically fastened to our stringers, yes, but we've also put additional foam to lock this tank into place. But important to notice is we leave the foam out of the back and the aft part of this in the center, which allows you to open up your fuel access hatch and rinse your tank off. Give it a little fresh water bath from time to time. When I'm standing here at the back of this hull, we want to point out a few things that we think are the right way to do it. If you take a notice as to how neat everything is, first of all, and that translates to making it easier to work on when you have pump failures down the road. We've got all of our wiring easy to access, it's labeled. We take the extra step when we traverse a stringer and we line it with PVC for anti-chafing on both the hoses and the wires. Another thing we do here at Bay Rider, we use bronze shutoffs on everything that's a penetration below waterline. And although we do use a high quality hardwall hose, if you were to have a rupture, you can come in here and physically shut off the valve. Another neat thing that we do, instead of a 4-inch PVC, we're using a 6-inch PVC. So that makes life easy when you're trying to pull something from the transom to the console. If you want to add a transducer, very simple, easy on the dealer, easy on the customer. Again, with the customer focus and dealer focus in mind, we like to make our boats easy to work on and easy to maintain. And you see here, we take a few extra steps over here in the pre-assembly building. We actually drain each rod holder individually to the deck, and that keeps it safe when you get a bad rain that your bilge isn't filling up with water. You can see here too, we've got a ton of insulation on these front fish boxes, so they hold ice great. And another important thing, every single one of our boats comes standard pre-wired with 6-gauge trolling motor cable. As part of our boat building process, we're here in final assembly. This is where things start to get really exciting. So as the boat enters this building, the very first thing that's going to happen to it is we're going to use our array of templates, and we're going to mount our engine and our swim ladder and our trim tabs. And then the boat's going to start to move its way up here in the line. When you get over here to Bay 2, this is where you're going to start to see the leaning posts and the console come across from our small parts area. And then our electrical technicians and Yamaha technicians will take over in Bay 3 and begin the rigging process. And then as you look farther down the line, you get into Bay 4 and 5, and that's where we do our 272-point inspection for QC requirements. And then as it moves over into the very last bay, it's prepping for dealer freight. So in that, we're going to ready this thing and get it all cleaned up and ready for its new home.
Today we want to talk about what makes a great Bay Rider boat, and we think it's the employees. At Bay Rider Boats, we've been in business for over 50 years. We're privileged enough to have craftsmen that have been here over 40 years building our boats for everyone on the water. We think when you have employees with that kind of tenure that you get a better product, a higher quality product, which means the dealer and the customer has less issues with our boats. Our lamination head's been here over 44 years. Our metal shop foreman has been here over 25 years. These employees have the same passion to build the boats that we have, and they care about the product that we send out the door. We're not the largest boat builder by choice, and we think that Being a little bit smaller, we're able to offer you a higher quality product than some of the other builders on the market that build larger numbers of boats.
Appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to what we have to say. And you know, we can say it all we want, but I encourage you, take the next step. Get on our website, check us out at bayriderboats.com. You can explore our dealer network as well if you want to get in person and touch and feel one. We've got a ton of great information on there. You can build your models. You can get some pictures of different options that we offer. We're active on social media, on Facebook and Instagram. You can check us out there as well. But again, at the end of the day, we're non-talkers. We're builders. So we would love it for you guys to come check us out.